When we find ourselves in real life survival situations, well, you know what to do. Join me, Dan Shelley, as I teach us real life skills for any survival situation. On The Survival Show. Downed power lines? What's that got to do with survival? It has every bit to do with survival. Most people don't even think about this, it doesn't even cross their minds. But think about this. Natural disaster, earthquake, hurricane, tsunami. We have power lines, don't we, that gives our towns and cities electricity. We either have power lines above us or we have them in the ground. And when there's been a major disaster, say there's been an earthquake, obviously power lines above us can be disturbed in the form of pylons, and these lines can come down and still be live. And you wouldn't even think about it, you'd just come across it and just be like, well, it's been an earthquake, but that line could still be live. Or if it's in the ground, in an earthquake, it can come up out of the ground. Whether it's live or not, we've always got to treat those lines as live, as it could be a matter of life and death for us. Later in this video, I'm going to show us how to survive a downed power line or a power line coming up out of the ground, both in person or in a vehicle. But first, let's have a look at the effects of electricity, not on humans, but on animals. Now, there were no animals harmed within these clips, but we can clearly see the effects of unseen electricity. This next clip, both me and this chap found out the hard way. Yep, you guessed it, I once weed on an electric fence. And if you want to know what that feels like, get a friend to hit you up the backside with a cricket bat at full pedal. It wasn't pleasant, mate, I tell you. I feel sorry for the animals. But yeah, listen guys, that's only minimal power going through those fences. Imagine pylons or electric cables under the ground with thousands of volts in. It will paralyse you and kill you, and you don't want that. So as you can see, we're in the car. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a little drive around my neighbourhood and we're going to look out for power lines. That's power lines above us and power lines that are in the ground. What you need to do, especially at a safe location, but even in the area that you live in, is familiarise yourself with your area and notice where the power lines are, alright, above you and below you. The reason for this is in a disaster situation, what you do not want to happen is you're running along trying to survive and you stumble across a load of power lines, you didn't see it, and if you're in 8 meters of a live power line, bad news. You're either going to be injured or killed. And you didn't even see it coming. You didn't even think that power line would be an issue. We need to be aware of where power lines are, whether they're above us or in the ground. All right. So take a little trip around your neighbourhood and around your safe location. Familiarise yourself and make sure you know where the power lines are, so that when disasters happen, you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to accidentally stumble into one. So let's just take a little drive around my neighbourhood, and you'll see how frequent and how common they actually are. Now, some of these cables here aren't actually power lines, they're internet lines, they're phone lines, they're different lines. But how's the average Joe supposed to know which living line is what? For us, the average Joe, not internet or phone engineer, just treat them all the same. They have somewhat or some degree of electricity running through them, we don't know how much, but they do. If we just treat every single line the same, then we can't go wrong. Now what to do when you encounter a live fallen line or a live line that has come up from under the ground. Here are live power lines going above us. So as we can see the live power lines behind us. This here is a fallen line. At the moment it's not live. But I'm going to show you what to do if you encounter a live line. But here's the thing, and it's really important. We don't know if it's live or not. But what we've always got to do is treat any power line that we come across as live, because it very well could be. And if you go anywhere near that, you're going to be injured or killed. So the very first thing that we need to do, you're in a survival situation, there's been a horrific disaster, power lines have fallen or power lines have come up through the ground. The very first thing we need to do is obviously keep away from them. This power line here. Some people think it's just the power line that has the power in it. What they don't realise is that the electricity is going through the line, but then it also radiates through the ground. So if you even so much as step on the ground near it, it can still paralyse you and potentially kill you. So 8 meters is what they say. The currents of electricity come off that line 8 meters around that line. So you're walking along a survival situation, you notice power lines ahead that are damaged, you see a line that is on the floor there, you have got to assume that it's live. Alright, and the very first thing we do is we stay 8 meters away from that line. Let me give you an example. I'm walking along and I have spotted live power lines. I see a live line on the floor. Stay 8 meters away from it. As I was walking along, you may have noticed my shadow on the floor. I was staying 8 meters away from that live line there, because if I stepped within that, we would then go into step potential, which I will teach you in just a second. But the very first thing that we need to all remember, if you see overhead power lines or lines coming up out of the ground, anywhere that you see electricity, you have to stay 8 meters away from it. Now we move into step potential. Oh crap! You haven't seen it, but this live line has just fallen from the power line above. It's still connected and it's next to me. If you find yourself in a situation where a live power line suddenly comes down beside you or up from the ground, you're in step potential. When we walk like this, don't we? In this situation, if you take your foot off the ground, you'll be electrocuted. Bring your feet close together, but do not take your feet off the ground. You must get 8 meters clear of this. So all you are doing is shuffling, keeping your feet on the ground. Even if you have to take it mega slowly, do not take your feet off the ground. If you notice your buddy or anyone in a situation where a live line comes down beside them, do not rescue them. If you step within that 8 meter, you'll potentially be paralysed and potentially die. You must leave them to it, but guide them, shuffling, bit by bit. You must not take your feet off the ground. And don't touch anything else either. Once you believe you are clear, you can then take your feet off the ground and you'll be okay. So the current will go through the ground, it will come up your leg, go around your body, go down through your other leg and out your foot onto the ground. If you take your foot off the ground, the current will come up and it will kill you. So, in summary, you come across overhead power lines or power lines out of the ground, you must stay 8 meters away from it. Always, always, always assume that it's live. Alright? Stay 8 meters away from it. If you find yourself in the radius of it, it just suddenly comes down beside you, it comes up out of the ground, step potential. Both feet together and shuffle until you are 8 meters clear of it, and then you can walk normally. And now we're in a vehicle. What to do when a live power line comes in contact with your vehicle. I need to make it clear, if you are already in your vehicle, at the point of contact from electric cable, i.e. an electric cable falling on you, which is most likely what's going to happen, then you are actually safe within inside of your vehicle. This is for two reasons. Number one, The metal shell of your vehicle acts as a Faraday cage, which means it will protect you within the inside of the vehicle. And number 2, your tyres. They are an insulator, but only to low voltage electricity. In other words, you're going to be pretty much safe in your vehicle. I would recommend that you don't go touching the metal of your vehicle. I don't think that would be wise. Try and hold on to your steering wheel, hold on to anything that is like plastic, rubber, but avoid touching any metal in your vehicle. There are 2 options here. Option number 1. Okay, so as you can see, the power line has come down on the front of the car. Drive clear of it. The very first check you can do in your vehicle to make sure you are clear of that power line is your mirrors. So you're looking in your mirrors, can you see it? Look at every possible angle. Across to your other mirror. And obviously, have a good observation through all your windows. Really look around. And if you believe it's safe to get out, you've got to treat it exactly the same as the second option that I'm about to teach you, which is now touch potential, which goes into step potential. When it comes to exiting a vehicle with a power line still on it, or you believe it might still be on your vehicle, you need to exit your vehicle without touching the vehicle or touching the floor at the same time. If you do, you will be electrocuted, paralysed and potentially die. This is how you exit a vehicle in an emergency situation when a power line is in contact with your vehicle or you suspect it is. Open the door. You must not let your body touch the ground and the car at the same time. You have to jump out. Don't go mad with it. Don't try and take some lavish jump, right? You just need to get clear of the vehicle and safely. When your feet touch the ground, both feet need to touch the ground at the same time, like so. Perfect. Remember, you are now into step potential. There is a live power line on the car. Shuffle your feet close together. It doesn't matter if it takes you all day to shuffle out of this situation. Don't touch the car. And you are shuffling 8 meters away from your vehicle and away from that power line. And don't even attempt to come back and shut your door. Leave it. You go back to that, paralysed and death. In summary, do not let your body touch the floor and the vehicle at the same time. You must jump out in that manner, then into step potential. Shuffle away at least 8 meters from that situation. Do not return back to your car to pick anything up from it. Do not go back to shut the door. Leave it alone. That vehicle is now a death trap with that power line on it. And that, guys, is how you survive coming in contact with live power lines from above, under the ground and on your vehicle. Grab your Christian Community Survival Guide, first link in the comments. Click on the link of the country you live in to order your copy there. Once you have your survival guide, be sure to watch through the Christian Communities playlist here, which goes hand in hand with your survival guide and is a step-by-step walkthrough in how to plan and to prepare. If you would like me to visit your community, your church, your house group, or just visit yourself and your family to help you to plan and prepare, send me an email here. Also, if you're a church or a large group and you would like to order survival guides in bulk at a discounted rate, also send me an email here. And finally, please consider supporting the Christian Communities by giving a one-off donation or by becoming a regular supporter.
Your financial support will go towards video production, helping me, Dan Shelley, with everyday to-day cost of living, and it will also go back into the Christian communities to help others. If you choose to become a regular supporter of the Christian communities, I will give you a special thank you in the comments of each video.